Good morning. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of True Tory TV. So, if you're new here, we talk all about energetics, embodiment, spiritual development, personal development, mindset tips, all holistic health, like all of that kind of realm. And today I wanted to talk about, you see Nella poke her head up. So I'm just sitting here in the morning having my can't beat this latte in my sloth mug. And I just wanted to have a chat about two very different things that get confused often. I'm gonna kind of go through what each of them really is and how to decipher the difference between them. So this has to do with your intuition and wondering if like a relationship or a situation or a circumstance has come to completion, and a lot of times that can be really difficult to make a decision on. There's a lot of things involved, so I'm going to go over all of that. And yeah, let's get into it. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell notification to know when I upload, to get notified when I upload, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And let's go. So I want to talk about the difference between energetic drainage and feeling like something has come to completion and like it's fully out of alignment with who you are at this point in your life. And so those things can get confused. And especially if you're not conscious and aware of that those two things even exist, then yeah, it's really fucking confusing. So I recently, and a few times, like I went through an energetic drainage, like a lot of energetic leaks and drainage. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically when you have open energy. Like think of it like if you have an Apple Watch, think of it, I love to bring these like first world examples in so that you can understand it. So think of your Apple Watch if you have one. And you know like the fitness circles when it says like circle closed for today or whatever. So an energetic drainage or an energetic leak is kind of like those circles being open in your energy field. So like with money, it could be, you know, if you have a bill that you know is on your mind, but you haven't paid it yet, that's an energetic leak. Or if you feel weird about it. An energetic leak with like relationships is if you have something on your mind that you feel like you have to discuss that you're just like not like consciously not discussing, or if you're avoiding it or whatever it is. So, or work, like if you have 50 emails that you know you have to open but you haven't and you're procrastinating it, that's an energetic leak. And the leaks obviously lead to drainage. And the more open circles we have in our life like that, the more draining and the more exhausting it can be, the further behind we get, and then the harder it is to catch up, the harder it is to, because then everything compounds and then we're like, what the fuck? And then we need this almost like an epiphany or like an energetic shift to be able to now conquer all of the things you let kind of get out of hand. So that's an energetic drainage. Something coming to completion is totally different. Something coming to completion is, this is no longer aligned with your energy. This is no longer aligned with your life. This is no longer aligned with how you want to move forward. Maybe it's not aligned with the next level you that you're calling in, next level business that you're calling in, next level money that you're calling in, next level relationship that you're calling in. This is when you take a cold, hard look at the things that are going on in your life and you realize this feels complete, and that's okay. And now it's time for something new. But what you have to do, so that process can actually create an energetic leak, an energetic drainage, because if you don't sit down and like acknowledge the completion and actually take aligned action to call in the new thing and clear out the old thing, then that's an energetic leakage and an energetic drain, because it's come to completion and you're not letting it go. So now there's stagnant energy just like chilling there, and there's no room for the new thing to come in. So you could be frustrated, you could feel like you want the thing, why isn't it coming? And it's because you really have to let the old fall away. It's like the autumn or the fall time. The trees have to release the leaves and go through a death process in order for the spring to come. Does that make sense? So it's more about working on your attachment. And because we're humans, obviously, because we're humans, like, I always think it's funny when we say humans, because it's like, it always reminds me of how different we all are, but how alike we all are, in the sense that, like, we're all fucking humans. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you make, or what your like job is, or if you're my boss, or if I'm your boss, or if I'm further along in a spiritual journey than you are. Like, it doesn't matter, because we're literally all the same species. Like, does that make sense? It's so weird. I don't know. Okay, tangent over. Hopping through portals this morning with my thoughts. Okay, so yeah, so you have to allow, as humans, we get attached to things. That's really natural, okay? Usually it's a relationship or a habit or a way of being, but relationships are the big one. And that's why you see a lot of people stay in relationships way past completion, because it's comfortable, because we're attached to the person, because you're familiar. And there's a lot of different things that contribute to those things. It could be time, it could be, you know, your own limiting belief patterns of, if this if I leave, am I going to find someone else? So there's a lot of, I'm bringing up relationships just because it's the biggest form of attachment that's coming to me right now, and that I see, like, I feel like it's a huge one. But the process of letting go to make room for the new is extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Liberating. It's liberating, because then you realize not only are you a master manifester, you'll realize that, but you'll also realize and see in those processes where you're consciously aware of, let me do this thing because I feel like it's complete, not because I want the next thing. Like, you're just actually honoring your fucking energy. And that is like so profound. We don't even realize how profound it is, like honoring your energy, honoring it by saying, I don't know what's next, but I know that this is over. So I'm going to let it go with grace. And I'm going to hold space for myself for all of the emotions that are going to come up from letting it go. And I'm going to trust that those things are going to come up for a reason. Are they going to be hard? Yeah, absolutely, they're going to be hard. Is it going to feel super emotionally charged? Yes, probably. Is it going to feel really uncomfortable and scary? Without a doubt. Is it going to make room for the thing that is coming through, whatever that may be? Yep. Do I trust that the universe and I, as we co-create together, make things that are even more perfect than I could have even picked out of a magazine. Yep. So those are the questions that come up. It's a lot about allowing the death process, like the death and the rebirth. We're constantly going through it, but it's also something that we're so scared of, energetically, spiritually, physically. And it's so necessary. Like, you can't, it's not that you have to take something away to get something. Like, it's not this lack mindset that you can't have it all. It's not about that. It's about different levels. It's about ascension. It's about this limiting, there's no more room for this limiting belief in the next level version of me. So I have to work through all of the emotions it takes to let it go. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have questions in the comments. I know it can be confusing sometimes because there's so many different like principles and things that come into play spiritually, manifestation, all of that kind of stuff, like what I just said with the lack mindset. So if you have questions, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to answer. And so those are the differences between the two things. And then I want to talk about how to know in the moment, right? So, because you may be saying, Tori, those are differences, great, but like, how do I know? I get the differences, but like, how do I know? And my answer to you would be, you have to drop into your body. You have to start to build trust with yourself. That comes from making decisions, making intuition-based decisions. That's how it worked for me. If other people have different methods, great. I never really asked for a method. I started to really drop into my intuition, drop into my body, and that's how I started to make decisions, intuition-based decisions that became very clear to me that even if they made no sense, even if there was no logic, even if I got a whole bunch of pushback from the physical world, like people, relationships, whatever, I knew I was honoring my truth and honoring myself and honoring my energy by making the decision. And it worked out the best way it could have ever fucking worked out. I could not have written how these things played out in my life. And there's been a few of them in the past year. And that's because I've been really, really focusing on self-trust and my intuition. And so one of the things that I talk about in my Empowered Anxiety course, because this is a big one that everybody gets very confused about, and my dog is snoring so loud. Mojo is always the snooze king. So one of the things I talk about in the Empowered Anxiety course is the difference between intuition and anxiety. And so the big thing with that is you don't know, like if you suffer from anxiety, or if anxiety is currently taking over your world, and I was there for the better part of my life, it's really confusing, because once you're suffering from anxiety, your intuition, it's not that it goes away, it's that you're so focused on the anxiety, you're so focused on the mind, that it's really hard to drop into your body. And the more and more you drop into your body, the more and more your mind quiets down. And so with your mind, when you have anxiety, when you suffer from anxiety, when you experience anxiety, you stop trusting your mind. You get confused with the voices that are speaking, right? Like if you have anxiety, you know that there's a constant inner dialogue happening I mean, everyone kind of has that, but the people who are really suffering and struggling right now, it's like this conversation's going on in your head all the time. And here's the thing with that. You are confused right now because you think those voices are you. And I'm going to tell you that they're not you. The voices are not you. The anxiety is not you. I literally have an entire course on this because it is the way that I shifted out of being in my head with anxiety and started to trust myself. So I created an entire course on it. I think I have a video explaining it. And there's a link in the description if you're interested. But I created an entire course on it because it literally took me years and years and years to come out of this. I had an epiphany. I had a process that I made, and I basically reordered that process in the way that it would be most efficient and growth-based for you to get through anxiety and become empowered when you're dealing with it rather than enslaved. And so when one of the modules is about intuition versus anxiety, and the gist of it is that intuition, the way you tell the difference between the two, is that anxiety starts in your head, starts in your mind. It starts from that inner dialogue. It starts from a thought. It starts from, and maybe an action you took that led to a thought that led to the overthinking. Like, you know what it's like. There's so many different things that can trigger it. And so so that's where anxiety starts. And then it moves into your body, right? Like it starts with a thought, all the things I just said, and then it'll move into your body. So maybe your hands start to shake. Maybe you start to sweat. Maybe you start to shake, shiver, shallow breathing. Your heart starts to beat. So it starts in the head, moves to the body, moves to the physical reactions. Your intuition is a feeling. You usually feel it in your gut. That's why they always call it gut feelings. And one of the things you can do to help this, which I talk about in the course as well, is healing your gut, paying attention to your gut health, doing a cleanse, thinking of the foods that you eat. And as you strengthen and heal your gut-brain connection becomes stronger. And then those gut feelings become easier to decipher. It's a very connected, holistic process. And it's experiencing it makes you understand it so much more because you're like, wow, I never realized that the clarity I would have would come from healing my body. But it makes so much sense, right? So there's a lot of different things you can do to strengthen that. But the intuition starts in your body and stays in your body. It's a feeling. It's that gut feeling, pit of your stomach. Some people get it in their heart. Think of what part of your body you get like those feelings in, you know, like those instinctual feelings where you're just like, this doesn't make sense, but I really feel like I should do this today instead of what I usually do. Or this person just isn't rubbing me the right way. You know what I mean? Those those feelings. Everybody knows that. I think it's something that everybody can agree upon, is that like we all know what a gut feeling feels like. That's your intuition. And so the more and more you trust those feelings without logic, the more and more you build your self-trust. And then as you become conscious of the whole process, you're going to see that, okay, I made this decision, and maybe it put my life up in flames for a short period of time. But what came from it is so important. And that's that death and rebirth process that I was just talking about. So when you are so I'm going to tell you how to address both now. So now that I've told you what they are, how to tell the difference, which is, did it start in your mind or did it start in your body, and what does it feel like? Now, how are you going to address the two of them? So an energetic drainage or an energetic leak, I want you to address that in, you can do a meditation, a cord cutting meditation. I think I have one on here. It was from a full moon, but you can use it. They're pretty timeless. It's more like I use the energy of the moon when I make meditations. And then honestly, I feel like if you find it and it's not in that time frame of the full moon, I still think you're meant to hear the message of that came from that energy. Does that make sense? So I have a cord cutting meditation on my page. I could put it up for like when this video is over, it'll come up so you could see it, and you could click on it if you want to do it. And so you could do a cord cutting meditation that can kind of like end the energetic cycle of whatever it is. If it's a person, if it's anything. And then you can also do meditations, like if you look them up on YouTube, or maybe I'll make one where it's about closing the energetic loops, or just put in like energetic drainage or energetic leak meditation, and I'm sure you'll find something. And then really work on, make a list. This is the practical aspect. So make a list of all the things that you've been avoiding, all the things that you have to do that you haven't done, and then start doing one thing a day and just getting that list situated. Because here's the thing, like time is something we created. Like time doesn't actually exist. And I know I probably sound fucking crazy right now, but it doesn't. Like it's an illusion. Time is something that like we created as humans, and so you're never actually really behind. You're just here. We all have never-ending task lists, and if I looked at all the tasks I never did, I would be perpetually behind forever. I think everybody would. So you have to understand that it's not, you're not behind. You just have to close these energetic loops, okay? And you have to face them, and you have to acknowledge them, and you have to step up and do them, because they're bothering you. They're leaking your energy. They're causing an energy leak. So take care of them, and you're going to feel so much better after. And that's going to shift the energy also. That's going to shift the energy from exhausted to invigorated. Let me know if you do this, if this is what you're suffering from, and let me know in the comments how it goes if you try that. And then for the completion, so you can also do a cord cutting meditation for that as well. Like say it's a partner or an ex or someone that you're still kind of holding on to. You can do the cord cutting meditation for that as well. And then also I would say to really sit in your body and think and feel what it is you have to do next. You don't need to know the whole map of the rest of your life in conjunction to this one event. You don't need to know, if you break up with this person, who are you going to marry? You don't need to know that. You need to know, is this still aligned for me? And if it's not, what do I do? And I ask for guidance. I ask for guidance from the universe, my angels and spirit guides, myself, my soul, my higher self, my intuition, all that is good. You know, like you can ask for guidance from whoever and whatever resonates with you, whatever makes you feel comfortable, home, safe, like there is someone looking out for you. Whoever that is for you, or whatever like universal thing that is for you, if it's God, if it's Jesus, if it's Allah, like whoever it is, use that. Call on them, ask them for help, because they can't intervene with our free will. because of free will, they can't just intervene. We have to ask for help, and then they can help us. So it's really important that you know that if you are tapping in with your angels and spirit guides and the universe and everything like that. And then after you feel into it, journal out what would feel really fucking good for you. Like, what would feel really good? What is your body yearning for? What is your mind and your soul yearning for? What do they want? What do you want? A lot of times we focus on what we don't want, and we never actually stop to think of what we do want. And because the universe works in only positives, if we say, oh, I really don't want to hit traffic today, the universe just hears traffic and says, oh, okay, you got it. The universe doesn't hear negatives. So if you focus on what you don't want and you continue to get it, it's because you're focusing on what you don't want. The universe does not recognize negatives. So focus on what you do want. Say what you do want. Affirm what you do want. In a relationship, with money, in the next chapter of your life, whatever it is that you feel has come to completion, ask for what you do want. And also trust that whatever is coming is perfect. Like, you don't have to worry about how it's coming or exactly the details of what it is. It's the idea and the feeling. And then that beautiful thing is going to come into your life and you're going to be like, holy shit, I couldn't have written it better myself. That's always how it happens. Is always how it happens. So feel into your body, feel into what it is that you want, what it is that is coming to completion. And you can even journal and meditate on the fears that are coming up. Acknowledge the fears, acknowledge the emotions. One thing I will say is that the intuitive decision, the completion decision, usually is not emotionally charged. Usually is not emotionally charged. And if it is, I would encourage you to stop. Don't make the decision while you're in a fit of rage or while you're super emotional. It's not going to feel good and you're going to question it because you're not making it from a grounded place. Our emotions flow, right? They're like water. They're not like the earth. They're not grounded. So even if you're emotional, even if it's the decision you're going to make anyway, make it from a grounded, empowered place. Think about it, feel into it, acknowledge the emotions, absolutely. I'm not telling you to push them down. I'm telling you, don't make a decision while you are emotionally charged, because it's going to cloud your judgment and it's going to feel weird. Like you're going to continue to question it after, I feel like. So just feel into it and see what the decision is, what feels right, what's next, maybe or maybe not what's next. And then make the decision from a grounded, empowered place. I love you so much. I really appreciate you spending your time with me this morning or whenever you're listening to this. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the journey that you're on. If you're watching my videos, I know that you are trying to raise your awareness and your consciousness and working on self-development. You're fucking trying. You're fucking trying to grow. And that's a lot more than we can say for most people. That doesn't come from a judgmental place, but I know there's a lot of people who are just not awake yet. And I really, really commend you and I'm really proud of you because this work is not easy. It's extremely hard. And once you know too much, you know too much kind of thing. Like it's hard to, it's really hard to, sorry, the garbage truck is here and I'm trying to avert my dogs from barking in the end of this video. So yeah, just, it's hard. It's hard. And I commend you for continuing to make the choice of the hard thing because it's so fulfilling. And I wouldn't want to have my life any other way, even though it's gotten extremely hard in terms of just making these kinds of decisions and being so aware of the energy. But it's also easy because you're aware. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of like a choose your hard scenario. Either way, I digress. I love you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell for the to get notifications every time I upload, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you liked this video and want more like this, please hit the thumbs up button and leave me some love in the comments. As always, if you had any questions at all, leave them in the comments. Follow me on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, are at True Tori, and you could always ask me any questions on Instagram. I left the link for the course and any of my other programs or any of the other stuff going on in my world in the description. I love you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.